Stand by.
Good evening. I'll call this meeting of the Johnson City Board of Commissioners for Thursday, November 2nd to order. If everybody would rise, please, for the invocation by Brian Nuff, pastor of Mount Zion Baptist Church, and stay on your feet for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Let's pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to come here this evening, and Lord, this is the day that you have made, and surely we can rejoice and to be glad in it. Thankful, Lord, for these people that have gathered together here tonight, and thankful for our leaders, our servant leaders. I do pray for the mayor, the commissioners, the vice mayor. God, give them wisdom as they make decisions and what's best for this city and what a great city to live in. What a great place to raise a family here in Johnson City, Tennessee. And so, Lord, just bless the meeting, all the business that's going to be done. May it be done all to your glory. We pray in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Peterson, before we start tonight, I'd like to make a motion that we add a proclamation to our list of proclamations. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Jennings, if you call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Broecklyn?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tumita?
Yes. Very good.
First order of business is consideration of the minutes from your meeting held on Thursday, October the 12th.
Any discussion, corrections?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Broecklyn?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tumita?
Yes.
This takes us to proclamations. We'll begin with a proclamation recognizing the Liberty Bell Cross Country girls team for finishing first overall in the Class AA State Championship. So if the young ladies from Liberty Bell would come forward, please. And Coach Nutter.
And Coach Wilkinson. Yes. Well, girls, we are so proud of you. You guys went down there and took care of business, and you are state champions. And that's not something we get to say up here a whole lot, so congratulations. We just have a short proclamation we'd like to read. Whereas the 2017 Liberty Bell Girls Cross Country Team achieved an incredible level of success during the 2017-2018 season, finishing first overall in the TMSAA Class AA State Championship. And whereas tremendous sportsmanship, integrity, and character were demonstrated by players Jenna Hutchins, Trini Duncan, in spite of your father, Taryn Seeley, Reagan Guess, Jordan McIntosh, Morgan Mahoney, and Hannah Dawson. And whereas the team was led by outstanding coaches Donna Wilkinson and David Nutter. Now, therefore, I, David Tumita, Mayor of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, do hereby congratulate the 2017 Liberty Bell Girls Cross Country Team on a remarkable season during which they successfully and admirably represented our area on a state stage. We're proud of each of you.
I thought you usually keep those to the end of the meeting so they'll stay.
Well, here, take that and introduce yourself. And when we find that, everybody introduce yourselves.
I'm Jenna Hutchins, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Trini Duncan, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Morgan Mahoney, and I'm in 6th grade.
I'm Hannah Dawson, and I'm in 6th grade.
I'm Taryn Seeley, and I'm in the 8th grade.
I'm Jordan McIntosh, and I'm in the 7th grade.
I'm Reagan Guess, and I'm in the 7th grade.
I'm Coach Donna Wilkinson, and this is my 19th year coaching.
I'm Coach Nutter, and this is my 11th year coaching.
Well, congratulations. My children are alumni of both of these coaches, and I can tell you they do an awesome job. So Science Hill is going to be in good shape here in a few years. So thank you very much. And you do have to, who is going to sing the song? Okay, all right.
Just ask if they're going to run the turkey trot. That's what's next.
All right, who's running the turkey trot?
Yay.
Very good. All right.
Picture.
There's your photo op.
You need to get in there.
You can stand up and move around as you need. Yeah.
Sorry, please kind of get in the middle, and commissioners, do you mind to stand up behind, please, Mayor, if you'll stand by the coach?
I think that would make it worse.
Should we say, on your mark, get set, go?
These cameras here.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Hey, Morgan, do I get a hug? Okay.
Not public.
There are people watching. No.
Now I believe we have
Now,
another
if
team.
we could ask the young men to come forward for to recognition of their fourth place finish in the state competition. Good job, man.
And again, we just want to tell you how very proud we are of you all. You went down and represented us very well. So we'll go with one for you guys. Whereas the 2017 Liberty Bell Boys Cross Country Team achieved an incredible level of success during the 2017-2018 season, finishing fourth overall in the TMSAA Class AA State Championship. And whereas tremendous sportsmanship, integrity, and character were demonstrated by players John Carter, Carson Wynot, Britt Duggan, is it Duggan or Dugan? Sorry, Dugan, John Cheek, Conley Owen, Landon Smelser, and Coda Cutlip. And whereas the team was led by outstanding coaches once again, coaches Donna Wilkinson and David Nutter. Now, therefore, I, David Tomita, Mayor of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, do hereby congratulate the 2017 Liberty Bell Boys Cross Country Team on a remarkable season during which they successfully and admirably represented our area in the state stage. We are proud of each of you. Congratulations. Introduce yourself to us and sing the song. Just tell us who you are.
My name is John Carter, and I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Conley Owen, and I'm in 8th grade.
My name's Coda Cutlip, and I'm in the 6th grade.
My name is Britt Dugan. I'm in the 7th grade.
My name is John Cheek, and I'm in 7th grade.
And I'm Donna Wilkinson.
I'm still Coach Nutter.
And what grade are you in, little girl? Yeah. Are there folks that are not here?
We're missing 3.
Okay. Well, there you are. There you go.
So thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. And feel free to move about freely.
Come on over, get in the middle, whatever. Getting close. Yeah. One place to look. I don't know. And if one of you gets a good one, just send it around each other.
Send it to us. It'll be posted on
Hey,
Facebook.
where's your
by the time we get
brothers?
home. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Now, you know you guys have to stay the entire meeting. You can't leave, or we take them back. No, I'm serious, really. We'll give it a minute for the room to empty.
state championship is a good thing.
That's a whale of an accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. All the schools, think about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
All right, while the teams are exiting, Mr. Parsons, you had something for us. We'd like you to come join us up here, please. Yeah, just, all right, sir. So before you do your thing, we're gonna do ours, all right? We were gonna have to mail this to you, but thankfully you came by tonight.
This could be dangerous.
So,
Yeah.
those of you who are not familiar with Mr. Parsons, he is the general manager of the Johnson City Cardinals and has, without a doubt, taken them to another level. Hopefully, they'll stay at that level. If not, we'll come up to Michigan and find you and bring you back. He is going to be the general manager for the Lansing Lugnuts, which some of you, if any of you know our local baseball player, Daniel Norris. Daniel spent a couple of months in Lansing, and actually had the pleasure of seeing him pitch against the Bowling Green, whatever the Bowling Green team was, in Bowling Green. So we're going to miss you, and hope at some point you come back in some capacity. So we wrote a little proclamation for you, all right? It says, whereas Tyler Parsons was hired as the general manager for the Johnson City Cardinals and has achieved an incredible level of success during his 3.5 years with the franchise. And whereas the franchise has experienced an increase in attendance, ticket sales, and corporate sales, setting single-season attendance records with 54,444 fans in 2016 and 65,202 fans approximately in 2017. And whereas under his strong leadership, the team won the Appalachian League Championship in 2014 and 2016. And whereas Tyler was promoted to Vice President of Boyd Sports, LLC, and oversaw significant renovations to TVA Credit Union Ballpark, including a wider concourse with kids area surrounded by wrought iron fencing, artificial turf infield, group deck, where we almost lost Commissioner Wise one night, to a foul
Watch the
ball.
balls. Always watch the balls. Don't turn your head away from the balls.
And the installation of LED lighting system, earning the facility the best rookie level ballpark designation by Ballpark Digest. That's a pretty big deal. Whereas a native of Michigan, sadly, he will return to his home state after accepting a position with the Lansing Lugnuts of the Midwest League, though this relocation is currently under review and could be revoked by order of the mayor. Now, therefore, I, David Tomita, Mayor of the City of Johnson City, do hereby revoke that, do hereby thank Tyler Parsons for his contributions to our community in leading the Johnson City Cardinals to new levels of success as a team and at the facility. Buddy, we're going to miss you. Come back and visit, all right? There you go.
I am Tyler Parsons. I made it through 12 years of school, I believe, so, but I just want to say here, and just going to you guys just say thank you. Thank you on behalf of the Cardinals. Thank you for believing in what we could do here with the Cardinals, and thank you for believing in me. 4 years ago, I remember my first commission meeting. I've had mostly good memories in this room, I believe, but thank you. Each and one of you guys has grabbed me aside at some point in time and told me, you believe in our vision over there at TVA Credit Union Ballpark and what we're doing, and we couldn't do what we could do there without your guys' support. And I'm going to miss that a lot. I'm going to miss Johnson City very much. It'll always be a home to me, and look forward to coming to visiting here, and look forward to hanging out with you guys there during the game when I'm not working now. So we'll enjoy some time. But I did bring you guys some gifts here on behalf of the Cardinals, just as a way to say thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that big promotion, when you come back, you're buying.
Yeah. First, we're almost being decapitated at the ballpark.
It wasn't decapitated. It was just going to be one big old welt. It would have been bad.
For keeping our players healthy all the time and making
Thanks.
sure they
Appreciate it.
for being my first ever conversation with the commissioner, I believe. So.
Thank you, sir.
I won't go to sit with you. So.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
It's been a pleasure on the CV board, and thank you for all the
Thank you,
support.
sir. Thank you. We'll miss you.
and for taking my spot on the private jet down to Florida. So
Appreciate you, sir.
So
Good luck.
thank you guys so much. So.
Thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Peterson.
All right, your next order of business is consideration of a beer license application for Blackthorn Club LLC. This is for a Class 2 on-premise license. All the appropriate reviews have been made, finding no disqualifying factors. The recommendation is for approval.
Is the applicant here tonight? Would the applicants step forward, please?
I'm Rab Summers, one of the partners out there.
Chris Haley, General Manager, Chief Operating Officer.
Very good. And have you
Any
read?
questions? We're
you
just
read
trying
the
to sell beer at the same
regulations?
place we've sold it for 20 years.
You read the regulations regarding the sale of beer in the city of Johnson City?
Yes, we have. We understand it.
Do you understand
He
those?
understands it
Yes.
perfectly.
It's very important. Do you agree to abide by those rules?
Absolutely.
We do.
Do you have any questions for us?
No.
Do I have a motion?
Approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin.
Yes.
Commissioner Wise.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Mayor Tomita.
Yes. And if you'd like to take a second, and for the millions of people watching us tonight, if you'd like to plug your business.
I think we're fine.
Okay.
And we
thank you.
might not stay till the end.
We assume.
Well,
Yes,
we'll have it up here. No. Good luck.
y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you. Your next order of business is consideration of a beer license for Chanda Hughes, doing business as Midtown Mecca, located at 1121-1 North Rome Street. This is for a Class 3 on-premise license. The appropriate reviews have been made, finding no disqualifying factors, and the recommendation is for approval.
Very good. Is the applicant here tonight? Okay. What is the pleasure of the commission? Would we like to?
Point of order, is it a requirement that the applicant be here for the beer licensing?
That has been the direction of previous commissions,
Okay.
yes, sir. And
Should we move to defer this until a future meeting?
if the applicant is not present, I would recommend you defer this to another meeting when the applicant can be present.
Could we confirm once again that the applicant isn't here?
Correct. Is the applicant for Midtown Mecca, Chanda Hughes? Is she in the building?
Bueller?
Bueller.
Bueller.
Do I have a motion to defer?
So moved.
And our next meeting is compressed.
The 13th.
So, yeah, as much as we don't want to put anybody in a tough way, we'll take it under advisement at our next meeting. Have a motion and a second. Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin.
Yes.
Commissioner Wise.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Mayor Tomita.
Yes.
Next order of business is to consider 2 appointments to the Housing and Community Development Advisory Board. The agenda summary summarizes the neighborhoods that require representation and the applicants that have expressed interest. Of course, the appointments are yours to make.
Very good. Any discussion or nominations?
Mayor, I would move that we accept the recommendation of Kathy Carter Bisner to represent the Carnegie neighborhood and Laura Kelly as the home rule board.
Point of correction, I think Laura Kelly is who's being replaced. Jen
Yes, I'm
Rickert?
sorry. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Jen Rickard.
Very good. Any discussion or amendments? Do I have a motion? Well,
It's a motion.
take that as a motion. Do I have a
Second.
second? Have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin.
Yes.
Commissioner Wise.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock.
Yes.
Mayor Tomita.
Yes.
The next order of business is street closures. The first being a street closure request from Up and Adam to accommodate the turkey trot. This is the usual customary route. We would recommend your approval.
Well, I understand the applicant is not here, but we have a very able stand-in for her in the form of Vice Mayor Brock. So if there are any questions?
This will be the 12th running of the turkey trot on the same course, same request for street closures.
Move approval. Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tomita?
Yes.
Next order of business is to consider a street closure request from the Community Relations and Public Works Department to accommodate the Johnson City Christmas tree lighting held on Friday, December the 1st, 2017. The event will begin at 7 p.m. and end by 9 p.m., and this is the closure of a portion of Buffalo Street. This is the same thing we did last year, and we would recommend your approval.
Move approval.
Motion, we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any
If you didn't
discussion?
come last year, you should come this year. It's a very nice event, very nice tree.
We don't throw balls.
Yeah, exactly. No one will be hurt by flying baseballs.
We hope, yeah.
Or Christmas ornaments or Yes, anything like
That's
that.
right.
But Les Nessman has some frozen turkeys.
Turkeys in the helicopter. Ms. Jennings, if you call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tomita?
Yes.
Next request is from the Blue Plum Organization to accommodate the Johnson City Christmas Parade to be held on Saturday, December the 2nd. This includes closures of part of Walnut Street, University Parkway, Buffalo, East Main, and East State of Franklin. The event will begin at 11:30 and end by 3 p.m. We would recommend your approval.
Would the applicant please step forward and state your name and address for the record?
Caroline Abercrombie, my address.
Do you have any questions? All right. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tomita?
Yes. And would you like to plug your event?
Yes, thank you for your support. And we've widened our theme this year to storybook theme. And there's a generous donation from our sponsor, Firehouse, for a $1,000 prize to go to a nonprofit. So it's going to be a great event, just like the Christmas tree lighting with the bigger tree this year. Added a whole level. So I think all the Christmas events are going to be great downtown this year.
Very good.
I might add, the commission has been asked again to judge the floats, and we need to be there by 10:45. I think it may have said 11:15 on the invitation.
We're very quick with our judgment.
Yeah.
So we
10
should.
No, we struggled last
We
year.
might have
Yeah,
more
it's a
floats
lot.
this
It
year,
was
though.
hard.
We're going to have more floats this year.
Right.
It's going to be a tougher decision.
We'll commit to be very efficient. Yes.
Thank you.
10:45.
10:45.
10:45.
We'll be there.
We'll be
On the
there.
Roadrunner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next order of business is consideration of the consent agenda.
All right. Right to left, Commissioner Wise, anything you'd like to pull for discussion?
No, sir.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
No, but thank you.
Vice Mayor Brown?
No.
And Commissioner Fowler?
No.
I'd like to pull, no, I'm just kidding. Do we have a,
Move approval.
there we go. Do I have a
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tomita?
Yes.
Next order of business is consideration of ordinance number 4650-17. An ordinance to amend the zoning map of the city of Johnson City, Tennessee, being part of the appendix to ordinance number 1519, entitled "An Ordinance to Adopt a Code of Laws and Ordinances for the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, and to repeal all laws and ordinances in conflict therewith, and amendatory thereof by changing from B4 Planned Arterial Business District to RP3 Planned Residential District, certain property, tax map 21, parcel 49.01, located at 4835 North Rome Street. Ready for your consideration on first reading.
Ms. Carrier?
Yes, the Planning Commission unanimously approved this rezoning at their October meeting, and we do recommend approval from B4 to RP3, which would split zone this parcel. The petitioner is Gary Waddle, and Tim Carter is the developer on behalf of Claudia Nelson, the owner. The proposal is to construct 29 single-family residences. Concept plan is required, and it depicts the location of the building footprints, driveways, new cul-de-sac, sidewalks, open space, and stormwater detention. The required neighborhood meeting was on October 9th. We did receive several phone calls, but they were very supportive of this rezoning. Staff recommends approval. This area is designated in the land use plan as residential and commercial. The lot's large enough to accommodate the split zoning for B4 along the highway frontage and RP3 in the back. It will not burden existing utilities, and it's not out of character with the surrounding area.
Very good. Any questions?
Move approval.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
And Mayor Tumita?
Yes.
Your next order of business is consideration of a resolution for the Isaacs annexation. This is associated with ordinance number 4652-17. This is a resolution to annex certain property located within the 11th Civil District of Washington County, Tennessee, adjoining the present corporate boundaries of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, and to incorporate the same within the corporate boundaries of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, said property being known as the Isaacs annexation, to zone said property R2A low-density residential as described herein, and to amend the zoning map of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee accordingly, being a part of the appendix to ordinance number 1519, ready for your consideration on first reading.
Ms. Carrier?
Yes, this is an owner-initiated annexation, approximately 14.1 acres. It's located at the end of Harbor Approach and Oliver Approach. Water and sewer is available to the property. We do recommend approval of the annexation along with the R2A zoning.
Very good. Any questions? Do we have a motion?
Move for approval.
Have a second. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van
Yes.
Brocklin? Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tumita?
Yes.
Next order of business is consideration of ordinance number 4652-17. An ordinance to amend the zoning map of the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, being part of the appendix to ordinance number 1519, entitled An Ordinance to Adopt a Code of Laws and Ordinances for the City of Johnson City, Tennessee, and to repeal all laws and ordinances in conflict therewith, and amendatory thereof by assigning a R2A low-density residential to certain property within the 11th Civil District of Washington County, Tennessee, known as the Isaacs annexation, ready for your consideration on first reading.
Ms. Carrier?
As law requires, we will annex by resolution and assign the zoning per an ordinance. So this is associated with your previous action.
Move approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tumita?
Yes.
I would like to note that because of the movement of the second reading to November 13th, we will have public hearing on these ordinances and resolutions at third reading at the December meeting.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Your next order of business is a presentation and consideration by the Langston Education and Arts Development for a request to approve a memorandum of understanding. Mr. Stahl and Mr. Epps have been working on this, and we discussed this at length at our review meeting on Monday evening.
If it would please the commission and those in attendance, I think we had extensive discussion on this Monday. There were a couple of items that we amended. Those amendments have been put in place, and if there's no, everybody's good, would like to just go ahead and put that to a vote.
Mayor, I've looked back through it, and the two things that really needed to be changed in this document from the commission standpoint have been changed. I think they've been changed appropriately, so I'd move approval of this memorandum.
Very good. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Tumita?
Yes.
Next item is consideration of the recommendation for the renaming of West King Street and East King Street to Martin Luther King Avenue.
Very good. What I'd like to ask the audience to indulge us with tonight is I know that there's some folks here that would like to speak on that topic. We've been through an extensive discussion on this topic and various options and ideas. And what I would like to offer is ask for Reverend Lester Latney has asked to address the commission, and I'd like to ask him to come forward and do that.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, Mr. Peterson, Ms. Jennings. Let me present to you into the public record a letter that was presented on behalf of the faith community regarding this issue. And it is a letter to the City of Johnson City Commission from certain pastors representing the Johnson City and Washington County, Tennessee community. It reads in this wise: Dear Commissioners, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. He pricked the American conscience to pursue more noble values such as reconciliation and justice. His words and leadership prompted a nation to reexamine its identity as a land of opportunity. As fellow ministers, we are excited that the City of Johnson City desires to recognize Dr. King as a gesture of community building. We applaud the idea to create the Martin Luther King Park at King Commons. I will adjust that in just a minute. Knowing that the park will be a gathering place of many community functions. We do, however, respectfully disagree with the Johnson City Planning Commission's recommendation to rename King Street to Martin Luther King Boulevard. We feel that an individual such as Dr. King deserves a recognition more commensurate with his legacy. While some might view this argument as weak and lacking substance, for those of us who are the beneficiaries of Dr. King's life work, we believe that Dr. King gave so much and received so little. According to historian Taylor Branch, when Dr. King was assassinated, his total assets were $38,000. He sacrificed his life and the welfare of his family to provide a voice to the voiceless. Now that we, the Johnson City community, would wish to recognize Dr. King, we support efforts that respectfully honor his memory. King Street, in our respective opinion, does not meet this particular standard. Our request is that you would vote to not rename King Street. Instead, our hope is that you will vote to create Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Park along University Parkway. This action would serve as a healthy compromise, not disturbing residents and businesses while honoring the original request of the community, as well as a number of the community residents that participated in a community input event hosted by Johnson City Planning Commission. So our additional request then is that King Commons, in the King Commons area, that a notable recognition would be put in honor of Dr. King, and that that University Parkway would be given a memorial designation as Martin Luther King Parkway. Part of Isaiah 1:18 says, "Come, now let us reason together." So our hope and prayer is that you will take this momentous occasion to work together and celebrate what is good about our city, our state, and our nation. We respectfully submit this, and this is signed Reverend Lester Latney, pastor of New Jerusalem Baptist Church, Elder Mark Red, pastor of the Grace Temple Church Eternal Life Center, Reverend Aaron Murphy, pastor of New Community Life Church and interim pastor of the Thankful Baptist Church, Dr. C.H. Charlton, pastor of the Friendship Baptist Church, Reverend Vincent Dow, pastor of Bethel Christian Church in Jonesboro, and Ed Wolf, pastor of Cross of Grace Lutheran Church, retired. Thank you for your consideration.
Reverend Latney, I appreciate your comments. I appreciate the indication of support for that letter from the other pastors, all of whom I know, all of who I have great deal of regard for. Mayor, we have before us a proposal this evening to rename King Street and King Commons Park as a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And although I believe it's a very reasonable recommendation, it certainly has not been met with any great degree of public enthusiasm. So therefore, I'd like to offer this as the initial motion. I will have at least one more motion to follow. I move that the recommendation from the Planning Commission to rename King Street and King Commons Park as a tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. be denied.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I would like to make some comments.
Sure.
Before we proceed to the vote, I think it's important to make some comments that although it ends up that I'm not going to support the recommendation, I think it's important to commend the members of the Planning Commission and the members of the task force that they convened for the organized and very open manner in which they strove to develop an approach to naming that paid tribute to a very important man. I honestly believe that the Planning Commission did an excellent job of trying to make this an inclusive process. They did not have to entertain anything other than the initial request, and instead what they did, they went to the extra step of forming a task force committee that was representative of our entire community to try and arrive at a proposal that represented fitting tribute. That's the kind of approach that I, as a city leader, and I, as a citizen, certainly appreciate and certainly like to see. I do hold in my heart a certain amount of support for what the task force brought to the Planning Commission and what the Planning Commission has recommended to us, and I want everybody in the audience to know that and to understand that. One of the points that affirmatively caught my attention during this process was the notion of developing opportunities for the community to come together around the things that make us different, but that also make us one, a building of community. I think that we lose some of that opportunity when we focus on a street renaming, but I also recognize that the original request was for a street renaming that was a prominent tribute to Dr. King. So I'm prepared and will be very pleased to vote subsequent to this for a very visible tribute to a great leader, a visionary, whose hopes for America certainly mirror mine. So, Mayor, those are the comments I'd like to make. I think it's important to recognize the Planning Commission for making a very ardent effort to bring a recommendation to us. I just think that in the time since that was brought forth, it's been very obvious that the community is not real supportive of it. And I think we need to look at a different approach, which I will recommend in a moment.
Very good.
If I may add to that, ours is a time of great toxic politics where the way that you get your way is to exploit points of tiny division and blow them up into something far greater than they actually are. And my concern through this conversation is that we not fall prey to that kind of thinking, because I think it is profoundly destructive both in the present but also over the long term. And with that thought specific in mind, I want to commend those in the faith community who specifically took the time to write the letter. I know I can say for the other four that sit to my left, we watched the public comments at the Planning Commission, so for those of you who took the time to speak, you were heard by more than those who were in the room. And I think maybe in this small way of trying to find those solutions that are fair, reasonable, equitable, and try to take all perspectives and respect them even where we disagree on the small points, we might set an example that others, both in our own community and around our nation, might follow now and into the future.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'd just like to add just a short comment. As Commissioner Wise said, I spent probably an hour and a half watching the Planning Commission video later that night. And it made me think about sometimes we listen but we don't hear. And I had the opportunity to meet several of the ministers down in King Commons Park one very hot Friday afternoon. And we sat there and we heard each other. And so and one of the ministers also said, and I think we've heard Reverend Dial say, we can do better than this. And so I know we can, and I want to see our community come together. We are a great community, and we're a great community because of our diversity and that we value and include everyone. So I'm very happy to make a vote here in a minute to relook at this.
I don't think I have anything else to add. Thanks.
Anything I could say, I could not say it half as well as what's already been said, except just to say I'm really proud of our community. I'm very proud of this board. Very proud of the people that stepped up, Reverend Latney, Reverend Charlton, Pastor Rad. I know I'm missing somebody in here, and I apologize.
Reverend Dial in the back. Thank you.
I did not see you. Reverend Dial. Thank you for stepping up and taking the lead and working for a solution that hopefully we'll lay out here and send everybody home feeling good about tonight. So, Ms. Jennings, call the roll.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Yes.
Mayor Temita?
Yes.
Mayor, that accomplished, the following motion is going to require legislative action to be fulfilled, so I want everybody in the audience to understand that. But I will certainly commit to doing everything that I can to moving it forward, and I think everybody else up here will as well. I move that a memorial highway designation be requested of the Tennessee General Assembly designating University Parkway as the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Parkway.
Second. Now, as a point of clarification, Mr. Peterson, would you just briefly outline what steps are required and what that's going to look like?
Yes, sir. In order to name a state route a Memorial Parkway will require an action of the state legislature. What we will need to do will be to get our Senate and House representatives to enter a bill for consideration by the legislature. I've had conversations today and confirmed that this process is correct and that there is willingness by local elected officials to enter such a bill. It'll go before the full legislature for consideration. Typically, what happens is there are a number of these types of requests submitted to the state legislature, and TDOT and the legislature bundles them all into one bill. And it's typically considered at the end of the session, right after the budget, which will be this year, I'm going to guess mid to late April. There's the potential of it being considered prior to that, but I think just for conservative planning, we should consider that the normal process is this would be considered in April. And like I say, this happens on an annual basis, that there be state roadways designated to commemorate individuals or events. And it's typically one bill containing multiple requests, and it's passed without a lot of question.
Mr. Peterson, could you also comment logistically how this works? All addresses stay the same? It's
All the
University
addresses
Parkway.
will stay the same. There are no changes in the address. There would be signage installed that would reflect the new name, probably on I-26. I keep wanting to call it State Route 137 for some reason. I guess that shows how old I am, Rev. Anyway, I-26 and then along the street itself as well. And the request is for the entirety of University Parkway. So that will be from Market Street back to where University Parkway ends there at 26.
Okay. Very good. Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please. We haven't passed it yet.
Vote. Let us vote. We can always surprise you at the last minute.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Brock?
Heck, yes.
Mayor Temita?
Yes. Now. Thank you, everybody, and please, you're welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting. It'll be thrilling.
Except for you, you need to go, because I don't want you
Yeah,
getting in trouble.
yeah. I gave you enough time, right? Okay. Thank you. We'll just take a second and let the room empty. You guys do.
Just a good time. Catch my awards banquet at
Have a good banquet. Yeah.
Put that in fast motion. Don't hit, I got
You
it.
mean to just hang on that break too? Or you, can you get people? Okay, okay.
Sandwich.
Where you going with that baseball bat?
Wreak some havoc. As my wife said last night during Halloween.
All right, why don't we just take a recess for 5 minutes?
Did she say something?
We've already voted on it.
I'm just asking.
Why don't we take a 5-minute recess?
I'm not very popular with Pastor Cummings anymore.
To request the state to recognize that as
That's
Martin
it.
Luther King. Yes, sir.
All right.
Oh, yeah, he's not very happy with it. He didn't have for me. He and I
I refreshed my ESPN app today
So
we could watch Thursday night football.
there you go.
Although it is the Jets and the Bills.
Which, yeah.
They're both much better than
usual.
Sorry, boys.
That concept that got supported by the task force, sort of, and got supported by the planning commission. Yeah, and that's right. And therefore, we would move forward with that concept.
How are you, Vince? Good.
Sorry, I didn't see you sitting back there.
Yes, yes it is.
I heard that, yeah.
Cool. About 23 bucks, pants, shirt.
Okay, we can get to the
For 23 bucks.
Oh, okay, okay. I don't know. I'm not feeling.
Mr. Mayor, are we now at 9C?
Correct.
Are we going to hold to a firm 5-minute recess, or can we get the show back on the road?
All right, let's go ahead. Are y'all ready? Can we,
As soon as Mr. Peterson gets back up here, we'll go.
as soon as Pete comes back, we'll start. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, let's reconvene.
Your
Mr.
next
Peterson?
order of business is consideration of a policy that would establish our guidelines for the renaming of streets within the city of Johnson City. Ms. Carey.
Ms. Carey.
Good evening. Through this process, the task force brought up the fact of a policy that's needed because we needed some guidelines in place to decide what criteria, what procedures need to be in place in order to make a consideration of streets. Right now, we did not have a standardized process or standardized guidelines. So we borrowed some language from other cities and looked at some different policies and brought up some guidelines, definitions, the purpose to standardize this, because we put staff resources in jeopardy for one request of $335 at this point, and we needed to standardize it to some extent. So we created some criteria to look at. We created a 75% agreed upon renaming along that street for business owners and property owners that have addresses on that street. We also, on the ranks, we looked at public safety. You look to see if the existing name is considered discriminatory, where there's a strong degree of community participation and support that's reflected in that majority approval, where the name change will assist in building a sense of ownership and community and promoting positive values such as peace, solidarity, patriotism, where the existing name is meaningless or historically insignificant to the city of Johnson City, and where the name change is to increase the marketing potential or investment and attractiveness in an area. So those are the criteria that we looked at in making that consideration. The procedure would be that the applicant would get a petition. We would provide addresses along that street and the 75% requirement, and they would get the signatures of those property owners. We would determine that the 75% has been fulfilled, and then we would bring that to Planning Commission for recommendation, and then ultimately it's the City Commission's approval that is final.
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Carrier?
Just a comment, I think the policy is needed. I certainly think that most of the aspects of the policy are things that I can support. When it is ultimately approved, I'd like it to be in a form, though, that reads well and is very clear, which to me this particular document at this point does not. For that reason, I'd like to move that we defer it until that's accomplished.
All right, we have a motion for deferral. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I think you have a follow-up motion.
Yeah, I'm
that's
going to make
get
another
made.
motion, but we have to vote on that motion before I can make a motion.
Okay.
Or we'll have total commotion.
We don't want
On the motion.
motion commotion,
Yeah.
so let's call the roll, Ms. Jennings.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin.
Yes.
Commissioner Wise.
Yes.
And Mayor Tomita.
Yes.
I appreciate staff's effort on it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt a moratorium on considering further street renaming until such time as the policy gets adopted. So that would be my motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Very good. Ms. Jennings, if you call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler,
Yes.
Commissioner Van Brocklin.
Yes.
Commissioner Wise.
Yes.
Mayor Tomita.
Yes. Mr. Peterson?
Okay, your next order of business is presentation of departmental dashboards from the public safety departments. I'd like to ask Chief Stables if he would come up and present his dashboard information for the fire department.
Chief Staples, while you get set up, we want to welcome you. We're pleased you're part of our community now.
Thank you very much. I'm certainly pleased to be here. It's been a wonderful journey from my first few short weeks, and I'm excited to be here. What I'd like to start out with is certainly good evening. Thank you for allowing me to present on behalf of the fire department our dashboard. One of the things I do want to mention is in my short time here, I'm working on refining this data a little bit better than it is. Some of the things that we utilize in key elements or the way we reflect in averages don't give me the ability to fix problems. So I'm going to be going after a more industry standard best practice, which is using percentiles and quartiles and fractiles, and shooting for targets of 90 percentile success. This will help us when we go to pursue accreditation much more rapidly. So you'll probably see a change in how this dashboard is reflected going forward. But with that said, I'll go ahead and try and do my best to explain where we're at and what we're doing here. So I've done the numbers, and reflecting from 2012 to 2017, we've had somewhat of a roller coaster ride with the call volume fluctuating from a decrease of 600 calls a year to an increase of over 800 calls a year. So the balance out is we have seen an increase, obviously, since we began in 2012 tracking this data. And what that certainly means is that the service demand is increasing for us. So what I will tell you is, in my short time, you have an outstanding fire department providing an outstanding service to folks in a very efficient way. And with that said, if there's any questions on this, I'll field them at the end, if that's okay. Second part, what I understand is there's about 6,000 businesses and industrial facilities within the city. Our target of 864 per year is kind of a low number, in my opinion. So you're going to see me changing this dynamic to be a little more inclusive and reflective of what we really need as a goal or a target. So you'll certainly see we've fallen short because the focus hasn't been there of this. And that's one of the other things as I do my walking around tour with a purpose, is I'm finding out what the stumbling blocks are to be able to accomplish this. I've met with the building official and code compliance and those things, and we may have a way of enhancing our abilities in both areas by getting our crews out in a more organized fashion to address not only the pre-planning process, but some of the simpler fire inspections. We maximize our potential with our fire inspection folks, but there's a lot of things that we're not getting done in what I would consider to be a timely manner. So I'm going to try and refine that process through this data and make sure that we get to a place where we're addressing the community risks as they are. I'm really proud of this. There's one thing that we control as a fire department, and that is our turnout time. And what that means is from the time the call comes and we get it to the time we get on a fire truck and turn out and go help people. We can't drive any faster and really translate that to realistic response change, but we can get on the fire truck quickly and go help people. And I will tell you that the folks in this department embrace that responsibility. While they're wearing this uniform and while they're assigned to a fire truck, they are maintaining a readiness like others I have not seen. So I'm very proud and honored to be able to lead a group of folks that really take that responsibility to heart and fulfill that obligation at every opportunity. Our medical times, I believe that there's some data issues here between dispatch, reporting, and I'm trying to sort through that because I don't think that's reflective of what's happening. It takes less time to turn out for a medical call than it does a fire call because we're putting gear on and getting in the truck and all those other things. So, and I'm positive that our folks are double stepping to the trucks. So I have an issue with trying to sort through where this anomaly lies. And I'm telling you that I will get to the bottom of it, but I just don't have that information right now. Our overall response times, as I spoke earlier, the approach of averages does not give the quality side of data management, I think, what it needs, the attention. So while the overall response time looks wonderful, there's some outliers out there and folks that are not satisfied with what they've received as a service. And I want to make sure that we're hitting that 90% of the time, but it gives me the ability to go back and investigate the 10% of the time that we're not successful and do an in-depth study of why. Is there a procedural problem? Is there an apparatus problem? Is there a call processing problem? Is there some other reason why we're not getting there in time? So I want to make sure that you all understand the overall dynamic of this from my perspective. We do a very valuable service here in the city of Johnson City in addressing the importance of smoke detectors in homes. And as we go forward with the clock change this weekend and we fall back an hour, I will remind everybody that's listening and everybody that's here to check your smoke detector batteries this weekend. When you change your clock, check your smoke detector battery and change your batteries then. Those smoke detectors are the first line of defense to make sure that we don't have fatalities in our homes. So our firefighters are going out and canvassing and blitz programs in neighborhoods and installing smoke detectors and improving the safety in this community. And that risk reduction move is huge in making sure that this is a safe community. So I want to commend you all for the forward-thinking nature of this business, because this isn't something I brought here. This is just something I inherited, and I'm quite proud of it. So with that said, I will stop talking and answer any questions you all may have of me.
I don't have any questions. I just appreciate your report and appreciate your willingness to take a look at what you're reporting to us in a meaningful fashion. So Godspeed on that. Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Major Turner? Short timers decide to stand back.
Yeah, and as we did with Mr. Parsons, we may put that retirement request under review too, and deny
Chief and I
that.
talked about that earlier today, as a matter of fact.
So this better be good.
We're trying to talk him out of it, Mayor. First of all, let me thank the commission and Mr. Peterson for the opportunity to present the police department dashboards. This first dashboard is the Part 1 crimes that we report to the FBI. Those Part 1 crimes are homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, arson, burglary, theft, and motor vehicle theft. And the reason we report those crimes is because they're very serious in nature. They have an especially adverse effect on victims, families, and the community. Part 1 crimes also occur in all areas of the country, and they are likely to be reported to the police. So that's why we report those crimes. As far as our target right now, we are at about 2,400 in the number of Part 1 crimes reported. Our 2017 target is 2,566, and so we hope to be on target at the end of the year. That is what has been reported through September of 2017. One other thing about Part 1 crimes, they do provide a good snapshot of the performance of the police department and the services that we deliver. The violent and property crime clearance rate, or the Part 1 crime clearance rate, that clearance rate is right now to date is at 56.3%, and the clearance rate is determined by when cases are brought to a conclusion, and that's either by arrest or by exceptional means. And even when they're closed by exceptional means, we have to identify the offender. We have to gather evidence to prosecute that defender and determine a location where we could find that offender. And then there's means outside the law enforcement control that prevent us from making an arrest. And it may be the offender's passed away or the victim refuses to cooperate with the police. Those are some of the reasons for exceptional means as a means of clearance. What do the clearance rates tell you? It's a good snapshot of what we're doing at the police department. It's good police work and investigation allows us to have a high clearance rate, diligent follow-up and investigations. We review reports for solvability factors, proper coding, and case management of those reports by supervisors. Nationally, the the clearance rate for Part 1 crimes is in the neighborhood of 35 to 42%. So we are well above that rate. The traffic injury to crash ratio, that's a number that we certainly want to be low. There's a number of initiatives that we have at the police department to try to drive that number down through education and enforcement. Some of the things are like enforcing seatbelt laws, officers that are trained in child safety seat installation at the fire department and the police department. They help parents properly install their child safety seats. We just recently participated in a initiative with the Tennessee Highway Patrol through the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where we went on a bus with members of the THP to look for people who were texting and driving. That's a very difficult crime to enforce because of the nature of people, how they use their phones while they're driving. So we want to drive down those distracted driving numbers. Sobriety checkpoints and DUI enforcement, many of which are grant funded, and also our defensive driving classes. So through education and enforcement, we want to keep that traffic injury to crash ratio as low as we can. And finally, our priority response times. That is the time that it takes an officer to respond to the scene of a priority call or an emergency call after they're dispatched. Some of the calls that we respond to as far as a priority call are a crash with injuries. It could be a robbery or a violent crime against a person. Some of the factors that affect the response times are the location of the time of the incident, traffic conditions, the availability of officers to respond, and information that's provided by the complainant. A lot of calls that come into 911, they're by cell phone, so if that person's not familiar with their location, it does affect our response time. Nationally, the average response time is somewhere around 11 minutes. So again, our target is for 4:30, and we were hope to achieve that this year and be significantly lower than that national average. And I'll be glad to answer any questions the commission might have.
I'm glad we're not someplace where it takes 11 minutes.
Yeah. You know, there was I saw some commentary regarding a business downtown who had stated, had some people, new business downtown who had stated that had some people come in that told them it was unsafe downtown. Do you have data on call rates for violent crime downtown? I mean, I know the last time we took a look at it, it was very, very, very slight.
I don't have broken out into specifically into downtown tonight, but that's something that we could provide to the commission.
If you wouldn't mind, just see if you can break that out for us at some point so we can answer that. We, you know, as a frequent user of downtown, I've never felt, of course, I probably wouldn't feel unsafe, but we want to make sure everybody feels safe down there. So, but the data helps. Data helps. So if you can get that for us, no rush.
So we can certainly pull those Part 1 crimes and get them to the commission.
Very good.
Because reason always works to take from a mind what reason did not put there.
We'll think about that for a minute. Thank you, Major.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Mr. Peterson, I believe we have a guest.
Yes, sir. The applicant for the Midtown Mecca beer license is present. That being Ms. Chanda Hughes, located at 1121-1 North Run Street. They are applying for a Class 3 on-premise beer license. The appropriate reviews have been made, finding no disqualifying factors, and the recommendation is for approval.
Well, we're glad you made it.
Thank you.
And if you just state your name and address for the record, please.
Shonda Hughes, house address or business address?
Business is fine.
Right. Shonda Hughes, 1121-1 North Roan Street, Johnson City, 37604.
Very good. And have you read the rules and regulations regarding the sale of beer in the city of Johnson City?
4 times now.
You just have to read it once, it's fine. No extra credit for overachieving. Do you
Thank you
agree
so
to
much.
abide by those regulations?
Yes, I do.
Do you have any questions for us?
No.
Do we have any questions for the applicant?
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Jennings, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Fowler?
Yes.
Commissioner Van
Yes.
Brocklin? Commissioner Wise?
Yes.
Mayor Temita?
Yes.
You made it just in time.
You made it just in time. If you'd like to tell us a little bit about your business. Now, is this a reiteration of the
regular
Mecca we
Mecca.
all know and love?
Yeah,
Right?
we just took it from downtown because
Okay.
our last building downtown wasn't safe.
Yeah.
The
And
ceiling
where
fell in.
specifically is it?
Now it's where the old Everett's building was, next to the Nashville Sound on Roan Street.
Gotcha.
Bigger place, bigger capacity, and we can serve soul food.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, best of luck to you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you made it in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very good.
Commissioners, that takes you to the end of your agenda for this evening's business.
Very good. Any questions for city manager? Any comments?
If I would, not that we need to take it up now, but if you would look in the back of your packets, there is an informational item from Tom Witherspoon that discusses some cleaning of a wastewater line downtown with some very interesting and describing pictures of how they do it and some of the types of debris that we find in sewer lines.
I'm sure we don't even want to know. Yeah.
That's an interesting looking picture.
Yeah.
Bricks and boots. And
How they get them down there?
I don't
Some
know.
of that stuff, how in the world do you get it down there? Is
They're
there a
gonna
car in
make
there?
it past the track. You know, that's-
Tell him we always appreciate the graphic information that he provides us.
Correct.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
And that's one thing we never worry about when our citizens turn on the faucet or send it down the drain.
Yeah, it's happened.
It generally works, so we're proud of that system. Any comments? Any news from the commission? Our next meeting has been compressed in a timeline to the 13th, which will be a Monday. We'll have our agenda meeting and our regular meeting on the same day because most of us will be attending the National League of Cities convention in Charlotte. So if there's no other comments, we'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.